New Colgate Tartar Control Plus Whitening.
There's our green room where our guests hang out with our co-host before the show. Total Ballman is there, and the Backstreet Boys are there. Now stop it, stop it, stop it, ladies, stop it. All right, all right. In the midst of it all is a performer who can do it all, including sing, dance, and act in every medium, and that's Tim Curry. But he'll probably always be remembered for playing the sweet transvestite from Transylvania, Dr. Frank-N-Furter, in the Rocky Horror Picture Show. However, he's long since hung up his garter belt, and now he's taking a stab at a new sitcom. In Over the Top, Tim plays an unemployed actor who's the former husband of actress Annie Potts. Take a look.
So how does it feel to sell your soul to the devil for a primetime series?
I don't know. I didn't do it.
You didn't do it, then what do you feel so awful about?
But I didn't do it. What are you talking about?
Please welcome a real favorite of mine, Tim Curry.
Can I give you a big kiss?
Thank you. So you were listening at the top of the show, I hope you could hear, in between those screens.
Absolutely.
Did you hear about the plastic surgeon then in Hollywood? What's your take on that?
Well, you know, I think there's nothing more important to our confidence in the medical profession than the Hippocratic Oath. And to feel that you are not being respected by somebody who, I guess in this case, you're paying many thousands of dollars to make you look better, I think you at least deserve the respect of a proper medical person, and not to be... I mean, because you're so completely vulnerable when you're in surgery anyway, and you're under anesthesia. I think it's appalling. Absolutely, and that's a real vulnerable thing when you're talking about plastic surgery and correcting, you know, image and all of that to begin with. Well, I think it must be a very scary thing to do anyway. I mean, of course, you know, I guess they didn't know it was happening because they were happily anesthetized. But as a principle, I think it's just appalling. You know, okay, I want to move on from there, actually, too. It's a quote that I read of yours a long time ago that it really struck a chord with me. You said that being British in Hollywood means that you're usually stuck playing a butler or a villain, but that's okay with you. A lot of people cast you as the villain. Well, it's sort of become okay. I mean, Eric Idle and I actually always have this greeting when we meet each other. We shake hands and say butlers and villains, because it's pretty much, you know, what happens to you here. And I think it happens to a lot of European actors. Particularly if you've never really established yourself as a sort of leading man or whatever. The fact is, though, that the bad guys are always much better written than the good guys, and they're kind of irresistible to play because they're so much more fun. Why do you think you make a good villain? Well, I think one of the reasons that they come to English actors is that usually by the time we get to America, we've done a great deal in England. We've probably, you know, worked a lot on the stage, and I think that they probably feel that we bring some kind of style to the job that we might not necessarily have acquired in the States. Yeah, but you know what I think it is about you? I've thought about this because I'm a big fan. I think it's that you're very seductive. And you know, I thought if you were the devil, I would pay to go to hell. I really would, because you have that quality.
That is going on my resume, I tell you.
But it's true. You have this you must know that. That's true. Well, I think it's terribly important when you're playing bad guys to make them... I mean, I think you have to be the guy they love to hate, you know? And the fact is that, you know, all of us would like to behave badly. All of us would like to behave, you know, in an underhanded way, perhaps. All of us would like to have the kind of power that bad guys have. And I think, you know, it's important to show that it's fun. Now, one of the most lovable bad guys that you ever played was Frank-N-Furter, obviously, and yet, in a way, it backfired on you in the sense that you've never quite been able to get beyond the role. You once said that you, in reaction to becoming that kind of an icon, you became plain and chubby, to use your words. It's true, actually. I mean, well... You really set out to... I think that, I mean, I don't think anyone, you know, tries to get plain and chubby deliberately. But, it's worked for me. But I think that, you know, I was sort of fairly astonished when I came to the States, and particularly when that whole thing started, because when I first came to America, I came with the play of the Rocky Horror Show, and so I went from some tiny little studio apartment, you know, and grubbing around the streets of London, to sitting at Jack Nicholson's pool, you know, because it was a huge hit in L.A. And I looked around and I saw all these people dealing with fame, and it was a big shock to me. I mean, I went out and got every biography I could find to try and figure out how people dealt with this. And one of the things that I think happens in the States, which perhaps happens less in Europe, is that quite often Hollywood actors find something that they're good at, put a great big sort of bow on it, and do it really for the rest of their lives. And because there's such a huge market to cover and so many media outlets, and even more since I started, that it's very easy to get stuck with whatever the first image of you was, nationwide or even worldwide, which Frankenfurter very much was for me. And also, beyond that, I think that America is much more easily shocked by that kind of image than perhaps Europe
a man in girls' underwear with garters is shocking no matter what.
I figure
that's going to do it.
As long as you make it look good.
You did. But you're not real comfortable with fame. I understand your idea of a fun night is reading books and sitting with Frank, your dog, or puttering around your garden.
Pretty much, yes. I mean, I've been dealing with it for quite a long time, and I've always been pretty slow to kind of promote myself. I've managed to kind of work pretty steadily without having to, I don't know, throw myself at the public and say, yeah, here I am,
We were just looking at the beautiful pictures of your garden, and I'm thinking of, I read where your dad passed away when you were a young boy, and one of your last memories was of him creating a garden from start to end before he died.
Yeah.
Did that influence you getting into gardening, do you think?
I think very much. My father died when I was 12, and it was a huge turning point in my life, because I think, if you're that young and a parent dies, you're suddenly 2 years older than all the other kids. I mean, you just know something about life that other kids don't. And I think, it really is a very, very strong image of him. He was away an awful lot. He was in the Navy. He was a Methodist minister, actually. He was a naval chaplain. So I didn't see an enormous amount of him as a child, because he was away, on ships a lot. And because it is a sort of final image of him, I think it's always been at the back of my mind. I think also that, if you're English, somewhere around 30, a trowel appears in your hand, kind of like a prosthetic device, it just seems to be a kind of English thing.
Thank you so much, Tim. You're going to join us for Question of the Day, right?
Yes, please.
Terrific. We'll be right back with more of Tim Curry.
Thank you.
Later on The View, how to keep the men you